So that's.
This is still gonna be the same, access link, correct? That we've been, okay. I'm not here. Okay. I'll be back Monday. Okay, so, all right, wait, hold on a second here. So this is YouTube. Yeah, just make sure this is okay before you sign off, please.
You have to memorize it. Before we sign you off.
Right.
Okay, and on my,
That's all. So they are the best. We have to show.
no.
Surveyor's license. You are back, you have players. It's like, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Okay, bye-bye. We are now, sorry.
In accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act, please note the following. All Bernardsville Borough Planning Board meetings will be held in person in the meeting hall on the second floor of the Bernardsville Municipal Building at 166 Brook Road. Meetings will be live streamed on YouTube with no opportunity for public comment if you're on YouTube. Members of the public wishing to offer comments or ask questions will be required to attend meetings in person. YouTube live stream access for all meetings is youtube.com/Bernardsville/streams. This link will also be available on the agenda of each meeting, which is posted on the borough website, which is www.bernardsvilleborough.org, and on the Borough Hall Public Bulletin Board at least 48 hours prior to meetings. Notice that these changes has also been emailed to the Bernardsville News and the Courier News by posting a copy on the borough website and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk all on January 16th, 2024. It's the intention of the board not to continue any matter past 11 p.m. at any regular or special meeting of the board unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend to a later specified cutoff time. And same shall be announced at the opening of each meeting. In addition, the board does not intend to begin a new hearing after 10 p.m. nor begin testimony of a new witness after 10:30 p.m. Any hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision. The quorum appropriate to the judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call.
Mr. DeMarco? Is absent. Ms. Gardner? Here. Ms. Geller? Ms. Geller is actually, she's not on yet, but she's going to participate on live stream, but she understands she will not be voting this evening. Mr. Graham?
Here.
Mr. Horowitz?
Here.
Mr. McQueen? Is absent. Mr. Simoff?
Here.
Mr. Walden?
Here.
And Mr. Zazarino?
Yeah.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next item is meeting minutes. First minutes are December 14th. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I looked at the minutes on the December 14th and the January 11th. I've talked to Lisa by phone, made some minor adjustments and clarifications, and other than that, it seems fine to me.
On the minutes of the meeting of January 11th, We list the retention of professionals,
Can you give me a page?
page 3. Shouldn't the names of the professionals be there?
That was one of the, yes, that was one of the things that we discussed. Because it was a continuation from the prior meeting, I had in my head that it was ongoing, but no, it absolutely needs to be identified.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
So on the 14th, page 3, and I just want to see what people remember. In the middle of the page says utility meters will be located on the southern facade of the townhouse building. So this is 114 Claremont. And the southern facade would be next to the driveway? Correct? And that's where we'd expect the utility meters. Okay. Great, just wanted, it was a little unusual there. That was all I had for the 14th, for the 11th. The only interesting thing was on page 5, you stated that Mr. Simoff left the meeting. And then he's doing all these extra activities after that, so clearly
I didn't leave.
you didn't leave.
Oh, that's not good.
Mr. Simoff exited the Zoom remote platform.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And you were just, is that just extraneous, like, cause?
I might have got up and walked around the room.
Wait a minute, was it, I left the meeting at that point? You have the wrong board member?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Instead of saying Mr. Simoff exited, it should say Mr. Horowitz
There we
exited.
go.
Thank you,
That-
that's
that
the
clears
error.
a lot of- okay.
Which,
I was gonna
Page
take a call for you.
Minutes on the 11th.
Right after approval of the bylaws and before approval of the bills. It's the middle of the page.
Right here.
here, oh,
So I had the wrong board member as
Well,
exiting.
that explains a lot.
Yes.
Okay. It was a great skill. On page 7, it talks about on-site parking. This was for the Morristown affordable housing, I think. And it says the on-site parking requirement is 46 off-street spaces and 48 are provided, which is a reduction of 2 parking spaces. Did that mean they originally proposed 50 spaces? I think it's
Yes.
true.
That's true.
Yes,
It is true. Okay, just wanted to double check.
yes, and that was to accommodate the trash compactor.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's just, okay. Applicant has worked in good faith with the borough to coordinate providing access to and parking for the public trail. Does anyone remember them actually providing parking for the trail? Access for sure, but
Access was no.
but not parking, right?
No.
Okay. We'll remove parking.
Sorry, just,
And that would be in the resolution. That would be,
yeah, maybe just follow up. I don't remember them providing parking. They could have discussed parking, but I don't remember them providing parking.
I thought that parking was going to be.
It could have been parallel parking on
Yes,
22,
yes.
on 202,
I think so.
no,
not parallel, I mean, whatever. Yeah,
in the right of way?
yeah, to the-
No,
just-
I think it's posted no stopping or.
Probably, I don't think it's resolved, that's all. I think it's something that the borough has to decide what they're gonna do. Especially.
You might have to park a car on the wall across the street.
I thought they provided parking on the south side and then they were able to walk through on their sidewalk that was right next to the building.
Well, the south side is separate property, isn't
It's not their
it?
property.
The south side, you mean the west side? Depending on how, what, south on 202, right?
Yes,
But
yes.
isn't that a separate, that's a
That's
separate
not their
property?
parking, that's
Not their
another,
Yeah, that's not their
It's
property.
another-
It's that medical building.
I'm pretty sure, no, they did not provide parking.
Okay.
But I think that.
I'll
But you
strike
should
that
check, you should check the resolution.
and see if the resolution addresses it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great, perfect. That was all I had, so great job.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry,
A motion
okay, a motion,
to vote,
yep,
remove the minutes of the meeting of December 14th and January 11th, December 14th, 2023, and January 11th, 2024 be accepted.
Well, wait,
As amended,
Mr.
as
Harwick,
amended.
you're not eligible to vote on the minutes for.
Ah, I was just saying.
You were testifying.
Got me again.
Okay, so let's just do one at a time. So do we have a second on the December 14th?
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor, no voice, right? It's all in favor, just a voice, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, abstain? All right, that carries. I'll move the minutes of January 11th.
I'll second.
All seconds. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, great. So. Communications, NJDOT sent us a note about work they're doing in Bar Hills, really, right? It's down there, they're doing stuff now too. There's water main going in there. and-
Yeah, let's put a new hydrant in and, connecting to the existing down the street.
Okay. There's a lot going on there, so, but it's just letting us know that there'll be traffic on 202. Okay, got done with that. Business and visitors not related to the agenda. If there's anybody here that wants to talk about something that's not on the agenda, this is the first time you get to do that. Just identify yourself and come on down if you want to say anything. No, nothing. Good, that's easy. Old business, we don't have old business. New business, we have two items. The first is reviewing, kind of a late breaking thing, but reviewing an ordinance, 2024-1995. In essence, what this ordinance does is it allows the town, the borough, to charge a fee for using borough professional engineer services to the planning board as in supplementing or complementing our own professional engineering service through Boswell. My only comment was it's got a hard-coded number value in it, but that can be changed, as years go by. Any other comments on this? There's one comment that we probably want to be cautious about ensuring that whatever that engine or the borough engineer is doing is very contained and does not. We don't want to be accused of any impropriety, regarding the application. It shouldn't happen, but we don't want them really making judgment calls. We want them gathering data and providing information to our engineer.
Yeah, I would say that there are cases, usually, smaller, single family, maybe board construction cases where an applicant might need to put a dry well in.
Right,
That gets reviewed at the time, that they're before the board. But sometimes, things change.
yes,
They have to move the dry well, or there's groundwater, they have to redesign that system, and I think that's kind of what we're talking about here.
so field type, field
Back to the
verification.
board. I think the in-house borough engineer is going to handle.
It's a good example. That's the fact. So anyway,
And then also for conflicts, do you have a conflict with the borough engineer?
is a third party or an intermediary or something.
No, if Bob has a conflict,
Oh, I see. Okay,
then the borough engineer can be the secondary.
okay, coverage. Okay, I didn't see any typos in it, but any other comment?
This is just a consistency review, right?
Correct.
So we have a motion.
John, it's a consistent with your opinion on this?
Oh, sure. This is where the statutory language is important. It's not inconsistent because it's a broader standard, and clearly this is not inconsistent because it's an administrative.
Okay,
So it doesn't cause any conflict or any other issues with any planning documents or zoning ordinances.
It's not like you covering from that, not covering for you. Okay. Gotta keep, gotta keep the road. All right, any, a motion?
I'll motion. Or I'll move the, consistency review.
Not inconsistent.
Right,
And not, I guess, language,
Consistency is a tougher standard.
and we find the proposal not inconsistent with the plan.
yeah, just like what Matt has written down.
Okay.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Matt told me this.
Roll call?
Take some credit, John.
Ms. Gardner,
Yes,
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
Mr. Horowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Simoff,
Yes.
Mr. Walden,
Yes.
and Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Thank you. The next piece of new business, it's here, but is paying the bills. This one was a shocker, because it's very large.
Yeah.
Most of it attributable appears to the, Mount Airy Road, Minebrook, well, both, right? Minebrook and Mount Airy, and Bernard, so there were 3 applications. All, overseen essentially by RPM as the applicant, and, so there was quite a bit of, representation and, for them, as well as engineering work, that had to be done for them, and we try to get them accomplished quickly, so you see a pretty condensed set of activities, for this billing month. Any other comments on the bills or on the motion?
I'll move to pay the bills totaling $23,861.50.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Ms. Gardner? I'm
Yes.
sorry, Ms. Yes, Ms. Gardner,
Yes,
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
Mr. Horowitz.
Yes.
Mr. Simoff,
Yes.
Mr. Walden,
Yeah.
and Mr. Zazarino.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay, so we're up to the main event, which are the public hearings, and the first hearing we have is Angela Calzetta and Adam Wig. And this has to do with 3 properties and the lot line adjustment. So you can introduce yourself. Within what?
Let me confirm for purposes of the record, I did review their notice and affidavits of publication and service. They were timely served in public institution to the board of directors.
Correct.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Greg D'Alessandro. I'm with the firm of D'Alessandro and Basking Ridge. I represent Angela Calzetta and her husband Adam Zweig. The Calzetta and Zweigs own block 35, lot 9, which is 99 Scenic Drive Extension. The other properties that this application relates to is blocks 47, lot 3, which is 8 Spruce Drive, owned by the Canbergs, and lot 35, lot 901, 12 Spruce Drive, owned by John Sauer and Carlisle Albino. I believe everybody's present here tonight. I only represent Calzetta and Zweig, but the other property owners have consented to this application. This application is basically a lot line adjustment seeking to revise the lot lines from a 1987 subdivision. The 1987 subdivision involved a rather oversized lot that had a unique shape and most notably did not have any frontage. It did front on Scenic Drive Extension, which is an old right of way. But over time, a dispute arose between the neighbors as to the various rights each property had in the way, the right of way, the ability to maintain it, and what sort of restrictions applied to that. And the dispute escalated pretty high, almost to the point or the brink of litigation that might involve all the parties in the town, but we have reached an agreement to resolve the dispute, and basically this lot line adjustment is that agreement that we feel will resolve all the issues between the neighbors.
So are you saying, I think you're saying this, that the subdivision, the original one, was permitted for the scenic extension lot because of the right of way that existed? In other words, normally you can't have a lot that doesn't have frontage. So is that what enabled?
Yes, I mean, basically why they did not call Scenic Drive Extension a road, they enabled that to provide
The right of way.
access. And granted variances, most of the variance resulting from that subdivision were the result of lack of frontage.
Right.
And the board, approved that on both a hardship and I see too that the benefits outweigh the detriment analysis, which they recited in the resolution approving it.
And the board did not insist on a private drive
No,
agreement or anything
no.
like that? So it
No,
was, so when it was granted, what was that considered? What was it considered originally?
so I did include two resolutions in the application
Okay.
on this. They basically said it's not a road.
Okay.
But it's a right of way that's provided they deem real access to the property. One of the main things that this lot line adjustment is accomplishing is vesting ownership in the property that's actually going to use the road right of way. Currently, lot 9 would access the right of way, but did not own it. It was owned by lot 3, the Canberg lot. All right, and that's part of what the dispute is as to what rights lot 9 had to maintain that road, to put gravel down so that when it got wet or snowy, that it remained accessible. What we're now going to accomplish is transfer title to the right of way to the Calzetta lot. And that will relieve the other lots of any liability associated with the right of way.
And so 901, which is not, okay, I'll give it up, right? 901 does not need access to the right of way at all,
So it needs minimal access.
because it's on its own.
It
property.
technically, both lots 9 and 901 are technically landlocked.
Right, yes,
What's going to accomplish with this is not only transferring ownership of the right of way, but making two distinct entryways on Spruce Place, one for lot 9 and one for lot 901. There's currently an entry or a driveway cut for 901 that is shared.
okay,
And part of the agreement to resolve this dispute was to create two separate and distinct driveways with a little buffer between the two of them. And that's
Right.
what the plans
okay,
will
and so
show. And that's
the
actually,
right-hand driveway going in, that's part of the, that's 901, and as you go into the property, the left-hand driveway is gonna be part of lot 9.
correct. So,
Okay,
the lot line does result in some variances. Basically, they're repetitive of many of the variances that were approved in the initial subdivision, and in many cases, these are improvements as to the overall condition and a decrease into the nonconformities.
and there's no issue with lot size and the zone?
All the lots are remaining of conforming size,
Okay, great,
and there was some land swaps in order to accomplish that.
okay, gotcha, all right, yeah, good.
And
Great, man, that's all.
are there any drainage issues, drainage easements?
Not that I'm aware of.
It says there's a drainage
No,
easement there,
the
so
right of way is
it's,
the regular reason.
yeah, it's in the drainage.
So there is a drainage, yeah, it is, you're right. And just for clarity, this, what we'll call right of way, it's 99 Scenic Drive extension. There's a bit of a history in terms of what the deeded documents say. The parties are not seeking to revise that in any way or grant any other rights or take away rights with what those documents reveal, just to adjust the lot line amongst themselves
Okay.
and not vest any other rights than anybody else other than what they're granting
So
to each
you
other. Should
record
this
the
be
lot
approved?
lines, and you'll just record this as a lot line adjustment, not as an easement.
It's going to be an adjustment
Should
of,
still have the right of way for the
If
drainage.
he's gonna testify, we should swear in any of your witnesses.
Okay.
It's a formality, but that's what I would suggest you have.
Why don't you, she wasn't gonna be our first one, but we can swear in just in case.
You can
there are
refer both
comments, Yeah,
witnesses.
yeah, so why don't we have Mr. Aldrich too?
Sure.
If everybody could stand and raise their right hand, our consultants raise their right hand as well. Do you all swear affirm that any testimony you give in front of this board will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
The intent is the parties are gonna exchange deeds conveying the land back and
We've
forth.
disrupted you now. Continue. I'm sorry. But let's come up with a presentation.
I think that's pretty much it for my introduction, before we go to the witnesses, other than we do need a waiver for showing natural and man-made drainage features on the application.
A waiver from.
It's a complete
showing
restriction,
it for
Mr. Chairman, we should deal with that to establish jurisdiction on top of the notices. Completeness is something that needs to be done at the
So you're-
outset. It's a minor item and because it's a lot.
If you're recommending we allow it?
I'm fine. Yes, otherwise the application is substantially complete. Everything else is there.
Okay.
So I would have the board make a motion to deem the application complete at this time and then turn it over to their witnesses.
Right. Agreed? Agreed. All right. Do we need a motion?
Yeah, you should motion it.
I'll move that we deem the application complete.
Second.
All in favor is
All
sufficient.
all in favor? Aye.
Great.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, got that one.
At this point, we would like to have Christopher Aldrich testify.
Yeah, your first witness, you said, right?
So, okay, I'll just put this up here if everybody can see it. The board can, I don't know if the audience can. but
And is he being qualified as a engineer, surveyor, both?
Survey.
Okay.
Mr. If you
Get
could,
the statistic, just get the name and business location.
Yeah, but his licenses are fine, but
Christopher Aldrich, I'm a licensed land surveyor with the firm of Young, Coneville and Aldrich. Been a licensed land surveyor in New Jersey since 1988. Been a partner with the firm of Young, Coneville and Aldrich since 1997.
Okay.
And you must have testified before this board.
I have, but I can't remember the last time. It's been a while.
So.
All right,
Accept them.
we accept, yes.
So I guess I'll just give a brief little summary of what the lot line adjustment looks like. So these are the existing 3 lots. This is lot
Just
9.
say it kind of as opposed to these, just say the left-hand side.
Okay, so this is lot
reflects-
9 here, the existing lot 9. The Calzone lot. This is the existing lot 901.
So the easterly lot is existing, 901,
Okay, and I guess the southerly lot that has frontage on Spruce Place.
or the
is
bottom
lot
lot,
3.
right? And that's like lot what?
Lot 3 in
Lot 3.
block 47.
Lot 46.
This
Okay,
is the only one of the 3 lots that has road frontage.
that lot 3 is the only one that has frontage.
So the 2 rear lots, lot 9 and lot 901, share a single driveway cut off of Spruce Place. Goes kind of directly into lot 901. Off of that driveway cut then is a rather sharp left-hand turn to a gravel road, gravel drive that then has access to lot 9.
Correct.
So I guess the dispute or the disagreement among the owners are to the ownership of that right, or that should say that access driveway. So the new lot
Is all
line,
of that drive that you just described contained in lot 901, or is some of that over the lot 3?
it sort of wanders across the property
It
line.
does
but
cross the property.
It does. It meanders along the property line, but
Okay,
the majority of it does exist on lot 3.
on 3, okay.
Yes.
Wow,
Until it makes the turn and goes up to the house on lot 9.
of course.
The new, not to interrupt, but the new property line is pretty much gonna follow the existing gravel driveway. Pretty close.
Exactly, very close. So
To follow the edge of the driveway, meaning the new property line.
the new property
is
line,
closer to the street. So that or there's a new gravel driveway.
When you say
No.
street, you mean the right of way or the?
No, the real street.
Okay.
it's not, the driveway is not being changed at all.
At
The
all.
driveway is remaining exactly where it is.
Lot line,
And the lot lines were crafted to
okay, So you just said that most of the driveway is, until it gets to lot 9, most of the driveway is on lot 3. That's what you're
As
testing.
it exists,
As it exists. And if you change the lot line,
it will all be in the ownership of lot 9.
all in lot 9,
Correct.
which means the lot line is ceding square footage from lot 3, at least in that area, from
Yes.
lot 3 to lot 9.
Correct.
Okay,
I'm a little confused. You said it's all on lot,
mostly on lot 3.
it's all on lot 3. So
Today.
lot 9 now have that like leg off of it? Is that what you're doing?
They're creating.
Not the driveway, the right of way for the driveway is all mostly on lot 3.
Right,
Well, and is that shown as a 13-foot wide stone drive?
Yeah,
okay.
So it's like a stub to go out.
But he said it's all gonna be on lot 9.
it's going to become part of lot 9. No, lot 9 is being expanded to include square footage.
From this line.
It covers the
It's gonna
driveway.
have this odd shape, like stub along there.
Right,
All right,
Correct.
but it doesn't coincide with the 15-foot drainage easement.
It does not.
huh,
15-foot wide drainage easement, just so you know, there is no evidence of it. There are no visible structures in it. It's there if there's something underground. It's not apparent that there is something there. It's a 15-foot wide drainage easement that is located entirely on the existing lot 3.
okay. Which probably is gonna change a little bit, well, let's see, okay, gotcha.
So then what we're proposing then is this would be the new configuration of lot 3. Would, hard to explain, but, so lot 3 would give up frontage at its most easterly portion of
Okay,
Spruce Place. The first 90 feet of that would be accessed and become part of lot 901.
not 90 feet.
901,
Yeah, no, you said 90 feet.
about 90 feet. They would have about 90 feet of frontage, correct?
Okay.
It's very 90-foot shape pieces.
All right,
Yeah, can you maybe point out the little tail on that, why it's 90 feet?
So if you look at the configuration of lot 3 now, it comes all the way to here
right,
and it has frontage all the way to there.
correct.
So
And that total
It's-
frontage is how long?
the entire frontage?
Yeah.
I have to add up the numbers.
Perspective,
The entire frontage along Spruce is pretty substantial.
must be like 500 feet.
304.
304?
That's more than that. It's
250.
250. 304.
I'm just asking, because you're saying you're giving up 90 feet.
About 500 feet, a little less than 500 feet.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
So then the frontage on lot 901 would begin all the way here and come along Spruce Place to here, which would be approximately 90 feet.
Right.
The property line for lot 9 would be in this here, and it only had, well, it has.
Would be adjacent to it, but would have enough room for a drive. Basically, to gain access to the new,
But not the required 50 feet of frontage that's
Okay.
required in the Burnsville ordinance.
And that's 35 feet.
Correct. That would be then a new driveway cut at that location,
right?
and then the driveway would come off and.
So 125 feet of frontage is being given up by lot 3.
That is correct.
Okay,
So then that would be the or the proposed lot 901. Lot 9 would have 35 feet of frontage and run through this little, whatever you want to call it, corridor, whatever, through here, and it will follow the existing driveway and then up into its own property.
and all of that corridor that you just described is now going to be part of lot 9.
That's correct.
None of it is lot 3 and none of it on lot 901.
That is correct.
Okay,
And then when we did that, it made the area of lot 3 non-conforming. So we then proposed that this lot line here be adjusted so that all three lots stay conforming as far as area.
Okay.
Conforming or the same?
Weird shape, but.
Conform, they're not exactly the same, but they all are conformed for area.
But are they're the same as what they were
No,
before? No, they're different sizes.
slightly different sizes, yes, but
Okay.
And a building circle, I mean, building circle still,
they do.
Fixed.
I did check today and obviously 9 and 901 are very obvious, but yes, you can fit a 170-foot diameter circle in the proposed lot.
okay,
Three.
great.
Yes.
Are you proposing any fencing or anything in that kind of
No.
rear section? It's just open? Who maintains it? A spike, a lot 3 spike on the back of the block.
Is that area wooded right now?
This area here,
Yeah, the lot that's gonna be added to lot
it
3.
is wooded, correct? Yes.
And it's on the, west side of the driveway, basically, for lot 9.
Yes.
So the driveway is sort of a buffer in and of itself,
Of course.
right?
And there'd be deed restrictions which would prevent that, that driveway from being paved. I
Yes.
understand it. Was there
That's
other?
an agreement amongst the owners, correct? A proposed agreement amongst the owners.
Actually, the town, because of the drainage easement, the town doesn't want to pay.
Right. so-
Doesn't want to pay it, okay.
Okay.
You want
It
to,
would need to remain a gravel driveway.
Were there other deed restrictions that speed? I think,
Yes. Yes.
that's kind of odd. A gravel driveway is not considered pervious.
Considered impervious,
It's impervious, so.
especially, 13 feet wide, so I haven't
So
heard.
if they all agree to it being gravel, then that's fine. The town, it could have been paid though.
I don't know of anything that says it can't be paid.
Correct.
That would, just to represent, that was a material term of the settlement agreement amongst the parties that it stayed
That's
gravel.
okay. It's just that
As long as
there
they're
was an
aware,
option, as long as they say no, it's not gonna be paid, they're all agreeing, that's fine. I just,
as long as they're aware that gravel driveways tend to meander a little bit more
yeah,
than paved.
well, the gravel tends to move around anyway, each time you lay it down, so.
Another question, the utilities to the, house on, lot 9, how do they get back to the property? The electric and, telephone?
Through Senior Drive extension,
Okay. The,
Oh.
on utility poles on
Yes.
something? And it's an overhead drop to the, building?
yes.
Is natural gas already running to these?
No, there's no gas.
Okay, thanks. What else did you want to say that we interrupted you?
So the variances, there are some variances involved. Variances are, there is insufficient frontage on proposed lot 9. But, okay, it's insufficient, but before there was none, so we're sort of making that condition.
But what
better.
was the frontage in the senior lot extension right away? That
That's
allowed
not
this
really
lot to
frontage,
build?
it's not really
No.
frontage to them, it's just an easement, and they really do not have frontage. But it was a 50-foot wide easement.
Well, that's what enabled that lot to be created. That 50-foot easement, that's what, otherwise it would have been rejected, and the subdivision would not have been allowed.
So
It's not a problem.
My property is not part of the subdivision. My
No.
property was there from 1940 something.
Oh, the original lot was lot 9.
Yes.
And then they allowed the subdivision of
Yeah.
901, which
In
makes sense,
87.
01, to occur.
And it's not a 50-foot right away. I think it's only a
Right.
15-foot right away
All right,
that's on the maps.
Yeah,
I
it's
guess-
50 on the other part of the
you
extension.
shouldn't relive sins of the past, but okay, that probably shouldn't have been allowed, but that's all right.
So Chris, what you're saying is on the frontage for lot 9, required is 50 feet. Currently there's 0, and what we're proposing now is 35.02 feet,
That's correct.
right? So
And the
that,
drive width that you're just, because it's part of the same concept, the drive width that the curb cut that you're proposing in that 35-foot frontage is what? How wide is the gravel, I guess, drive gonna be?
At that point, I would say it's about 20 feet.
It is 20 feet. Which we,
Well, that's the opening at the curb line.
Yeah.
It's gonna narrow down, taper down to the, I guess it's.
well, I mean, related to the 35 feet, that's all. So they're gonna have a 20-foot cut. But we would have asked for at least 18 anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean, to make that turn in, probably.
Oh, that's the other problem. Okay, gotcha.
Would we consider paving the first certain distance so that the gravel doesn't get onto Spruce Place?
Well, the gravel wouldn't get on the Spruce Place because of the pitch. The pitch is down from Spruce Place onto the driveway, so.
Oh, okay.
Unless it came up in the wheels or the tires, the gravel wouldn't spill onto Spruce Place.
But you could require that within the right of way.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting. You should think about how you're gonna maintain that gravel driveway if it's pitched like that. I agree, you're not likely to see a lot of stone on Spruce, but
Yeah.
you're gonna have to somehow keep gravel,
If that were to be paved, that would require the consent of the
the
other
agreement.
property owners. It's not consistent with the
The
current
skirt,
agreement.
basically.
I don't know what their position on that would be.
Something to think about. It's a real problem.
With the 6 or 7 foot of the right of way would require a new agreement.
Excuse me?
If you were to pave the 6, 7 feet of the space in the right of way between the curb line and the property line.
It would require an amendment to our,
Oh, you mean the
A letter
town
of intent.
driveway?
Town right of way, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
That's-
it's common practice in the borough to pave those.
Right, or something, you know,
Just for
pavers.
because of house.
something.
Common.
So it's kind of outside of the agreement, is what you're saying. It's, in a way, it's a special place. Next to
The
the
problem
street.
is you end up stopping as you're pulling out, and you start up and the gravel flies.
These, it's basically the existing drive, gravel all the way to the road.
lot 901.
Yeah, 901.
The access to lot 901, the first
Line
It's paved.
901 is paved.
is paved.
Oh, it is paved the whole way.
And then the access to lot 901, the also is paved there.
Okay.
The paved thing, like one of those spots.
Something they would have to. Well, the town could do it, but make it. I see. So, I'm sorry, so there already is an element that's paved, is that what you
Yes,
said?
in the curb, in the existing curb cut that will become part of lot 901 is
Right,
paved.
that's paved, but you're saying no paving for any of the curb cut for lot 9's new access.
I think
In the
that-
35
I think that's a function of the agreement between the owners.
Yeah, that's probably gonna be a difficult thing to manage. If it's pitched. Like you're saying, oh, don't worry, it's pitched into the lot. Well, how do you keep gravel on the pitch? You can't. Well, so lot owner 9 needs to think about that. Whether they're gonna anticipate that they're gonna need to pave that most likely, or put pavers in, attractive pavers or something. It's not gonna be able to survive, it's pure gravel.
Is that something your clients would consider?
I think it's something that needs further discussion amongst the other property owners.
So we're just,
No, it's gonna move the gravel.
can I ask a question on,
Sure. Thanks. Are you asking a question of the witness, or are you gonna give a statement to the board?
no, I'm asking you a question.
Okay. You want to allow, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, yes.
Are we?
State his name, state his name.
Hi, John Sauer, I own lot 901. Are we just talking about like a 6-foot apron
Yeah,
into the new driveway?
I think so. I mean, you'd have to do the site, you know best what's on the site, but you're clearly adjusting it, because I think it sounds like your new drive, right, is kind of where the existing one was. Sounds like that. And you're kind of shifting over lot 9's drive.
No, I understand,
Yeah,
what has
so
been
we
agreed
just-
and everything. We were blocking them from paving a
Right.
new driveway cut because we're on a lower plane
Right,
and we don't want it to, we already get flooding, we don't want it to flood further. So 6 feet, if we're talking something like that,
of pavers.
of neighbors, I suppose that's fine. I mean, I need to check with my wife.
And is that
Well,
probably in the town?
currently, the way I understand it, then, so currently lot 9 accesses Spruce across a portion of the paved driveway. Right now, or yes.
So that, the paved driveway is ours.
Right, they exact into that driveway.
Lot 9 and lot 901 share a current road cut, correct?
The road cut, at least the front of the road cut's paved, right?
Correct.
They come in on a gravel road to your drive, and your drive has got paving.
You know, kind of, well, we don't use
They
it.
haven't been coming in that way
For
for
2
like 2
years.
years.
Helicopter.
This is since the dispute arose, there's.
Yeah.
You can explain, but the scenic drive goes in the opposite direction a long way too. And since the dispute has arisen, the Calzetta have been using the opposite direction, which has its complications and greater difficulties.
Oh, kind of like traces at the back of the property for lot 9.
It goes off the side of lot 9 in the back of,
Goes out.
two
It goes out here.
properties on.
Oh, yeah, you said that wasn't being used. That was
It's
a test.
been used for 2 years and not maintained, because it hasn't been used for 50 years.
Well, that's the whole thing that, yeah, allowed the lot to, theoretically allowed the lot to be
Yes,
created.
yes,
So,
the
so
original,
you have been using that.
the past 2 years.
Okay.
It hadn't been used up until 2 years ago.
Okay, all right, well.
And that's town property.
Some of it belongs to, neighbors on Locust, and some is town.
Okay,
And that was part of the dispute, and that's why it's not currently being used because the dispute had
okay, so it's
escalated to
opportunistic.
high levels and we're trying to keep the peace till this is resolved.
Okay, so technically, that's what they should have been using anyway, for 2 years, more than 2 years. That's what you should have been using as access. Now, you had this other method, which is interesting, and it's great that you're all talking and you're gonna try to allow a more beneficial arrangement for lot 9, instead of having to use the one on the extension. Okay, that's great, that's all right. Anyway, how much right of way is there on Spruce? This tracks back to that's the question, you know, about,
It's a 50-foot right of way. On the map.
okay. And
It looks like it's about a 30-foot wide road and a 50-foot right of way.
So there would be 10 feet on either side.
so pavers in the town's right of way is okay, I guess, or how do you? I guess it would be a maximum of 10 feet, I guess. That, it's for you guys to figure out. We can pass it without the answer. Okay, it's just, we're just trying to make sure everyone's gonna be happy after it's done. So we can address it as proposed if you need to. If someone wants us to be more explicit than the stipulations, we can also do that, but.
Well, I mean, I think you would be.
It's your application.
You would be either asking them to stipulate to a condition on the pavers in the right of way as a
Right.
condition of approval, or you wouldn't. So
Correct.
it's up to the applicant to either explain that they're proceeding to a vote tonight as proposed, or whether they're willing to offer that stipulation.
I think the Calzettas are okay with pavers in the right of way, correct? And it's a question whether the other applicants.
Yeah, it's an 801 question, I think.
And they could maybe take
Well,
5 minutes to convene and talk amongst each other, if the chairman would prefer that, whatever.
I think we're fine with it as long as, you know, it's no more than, say, 6 to 10 feet.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
within the right of way.
Within
We
the
can-
right of way would be
So
the
you can
condition.
create a stipulation. Which
Correct.
you would do, right? That-
Right, that would be a condition of approval, that the board would condition any favorable outcome of this application with the applicant or responsible party to install pavers for the 10 feet or so within the.
They'd be allowed to, like, we're not commanding them to, right? Just
No, I think we have to,
we wanna.
I would recommend that it be
Be
paved,
done.
because I think it's setting a bad precedent, putting pavers in the right of way.
It's done all the time.
But it might be done without
Give the
permission.
applicant the choice. They could.
Well, that's, I guess, the point.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
It's one thing to stipulate that it would be allowed.
It's pavers.
It's another thing to stipulate that it must be done.
Right, that's the board's
And
preference.
then-
I'll craft the condition however you like.
That's the two.
Well, let's get some feedback from Bob.
Okay, because this road is curved, Spruce Run is curved, I don't see a problem paving it with asphalt or with the pavers. There is a problem with pavers on a road that's not curved. They tend to get kicked up by plows. So that's really, preference to the board. I don't see it either way. They're both gonna keep the gravel from getting kicked onto the road, which is the main.
Or removed from the driveway. That's most likely what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's. I just would point out that there are notes on the plan that are, looks like they're settlement notes that may or may not be conditions of the board. I think the board's gonna need to go through those. So if, for example, it must remain gravel path, I don't know if that's board condition, or if that should be taken off this plan and let them have their own.
Well, the stipulation could override that statement, and the key is you
And then they
pointed
would
it out.
change the plan.
So I guess my point is that the board might not want to impose a condition that this driveway can never be paved.
Right.
5, 10 years from now, new property owners, I don't know,
Oh, the entire driveway,
that's what it says on this plan.
not just the skirt, okay.
I mean, that might be something that the board doesn't want to make a condition. That's hard to get removed.
Well, there was casual statement about the drainage.
Yeah, but this is just my opinion, they can make their own agreement, but
Okay.
does the board, it's just a question, does the board want to keep that as a condition of this approval?
Right.
That the gravel, has to remain gravel drive. I don't know,
If we take it out, then it's just a discussion of the property owners.
right, and if sometime down the road, they find that this driveway is moving all over the place, there's snow,
Then they have an agreement between the two lot owners, and they pay it.
But they've come in with a settlement among the 3 landowners with 5 basically proposed stipulations that they've all agreed to.
Okay,
That agreement between them is enforceable regardless of what the board does. So if the board looks at this and says, I don't think it's necessary that we need to condition the approval on the gravel, the widening, the 10-mile-per-hour speed limit, those don't have to be conditions. The agreement remains enforceable amongst the parties. So if the board says that's not appropriate, we're not gonna make those conditions, that's fine.
And I can represent that if the board does not make these, does not want to include these conditions, the parties are gonna privately incorporate them into their documents. Would make them easier. If they ever wanted to change by agreement, they wouldn't have to go back to the board. They could just, if assuming parties could agree, they could resolve them amongst themselves. But that's what the parties are prepared to do.
I think the only thing that we talked about right here, which we want to override in the agreement and stipulate to, is that the skirt, right at the street, that 6 to 10 foot section, whatever, can in fact be paved.
Mhm.
And probably your agreement says no to that right now, so.
Yeah, it would
It's
not
in the
have that
town's
carved out in it, but I think
It's in
the
the
parties
town's
are agreeing
right
to
away.
that exception.
So that's gonna be a condition.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, I think the only.
well, subject to them agreeing to it, but yes.
So I heard that they did agree to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we agree.
Yeah. So they're, okay, fine. So,
6 to 10.
what is, what? Well, what do you want to say?
I would say,
10?
can we make it 6 to 8? So there's no chance we go
Just make it
outside
eight.
the right way?
Cut the difference, just make it up to 8.
Up to 8.
Up to 8.
Update needs it 0 to 8.
The 6, let's go to 6 to 8.
Right, yeah.
Oh, like they could put a 1 foot piece of
Up to
pavement.
8 needs it open. I would-
So you want a minimum size piece of pavement. I
That would be my
Okay. Cool. But anyway, you're going through, I think, the list of, if you're going through the.
We can just run through the list of variances.
There you go.
So, let's see. So we did the lot frontage for lot 9. Next is the driveway setback for lot 9. Chris, if you could explain that. I think it's required 10, existing is 0 and proposed is 0. So this is not anything that's being exacerbated. It just is what it is.
Correct.
Based on
The
pre-existing.
parties agree that in the ordinance, you need to have the driveway no closer than 10 feet to a property.
Right.
Parties have agreed that they don't want to do that. They've agreed that the property lines need to follow the driveway closely, and they don't want to exchange an extra 10 feet, so it would be
So
actually
it
10
would
feet.
be that the driveway needs to stay on the property, within the property lines. That would be the expectation of the applicants.
Correct, so they're gonna have separate and distinct entrances for lot line and 901, and the entrance will be contained within their own
The
property.
key is, unlike today, your driveway can't, lot 9, your driveway can't go on lot 3's or lot 901's property.
That's
Correct.
It has to stay on
All
lot
driveways,
9's new property.
everybody will access to their own property.
Yeah, but it'll just stay there. It won't shift. Their driveway is gonna stay on their property.
Correct.
Okay.
And the neighbors will tell them if it doesn't.
And then they'll be back here.
It's like anything. Are you gonna put any markers in the survey? I mean, I got a gigantic driveway that goes forever and it's got all these different survey points. Are you gonna mark in any way? While you have the surveyor, I guess, you're gonna mark in any way what your property lines look like? Any kind of a marker? Just curious. You're in the midst of
there monuments?
You mean you're putting monument on the horses?
somewhere.
There are none along the proposed driveway now, no, it's not, the property lines don't exist, so there wouldn't be any markers.
Yeah.
It helps to just have even one, like on either side of lot 9's new property that contains the driveway. At one point on your survey, your new survey, to have a marker placed is really helpful.
I do plan to do that because I need to make sure that the curb cut, the company I'm hiring for the curb cut knows
The
where to
compliance.
put in the curb
And
cut.
then, and the other issue is when you plow
Yeah,
Thanks.
it, you should know where the plow goes.
yeah, the plow guy's gonna certainly ask you to put the stakes up, if you get a plow. Just a thought, nothing, that's all, we're just trying to. All right, we're,
Chris, the next
variance.
next variance for lot 9 is the, providing a access to street shall be at least 50 feet wide for corridor.
Yeah, under the agreement of the three owners, we can't meet 30 or 50 feet. They're only willing to allow them 35.
And this gets back to, is the driveway you're using for the last 2 years, is that a 50-foot wide?
No,
No, this is
There
another
no
pre-existing.
frontage at all.
Well, this is the corridor variance, so it's not 50, it's 13. The corridor,
So the corridor has to be 50,
yes.
and it's only 13. And that's a stipulation of the agreement between the owners.
Similar, but two separate variants.
Right.
Two different things, okay.
And lot 901 has the
I was just
same
looking for.
issue.
way out of it.
Maybe it doesn't.
No.
There's lot 901 doesn't have that issue. Okay. And then
We
last,
normally request on a flag lot, we normally request 50-foot access frontage, no matter how you get it. Right, and you can.
Yes.
You can have a lot, on a mountain and somewhere you've got 50-foot access to a road. That's all I was looking at. It's like,
Before we move off of that point, but if you have 50 feet for a lot 901, the corridor is not 50 feet.
Again, I'm only showing what I was told to show. Again, if it's a variance, it's a variance and it's less than 50 feet possibly. But again, it's more than what was there
You're
originally.
saying 901 doesn't have that?
So they have the frontage, they meet the frontage requirement.
Okay.
Because that whatever you call that, narrow pinches it in, it's technically not 50 feet. You can put a scale on it.
Oh.
I've listed it in our report.
And would that mean that lot 9's new driveway would have to be further to the left? Somehow,
Well,
to make the corridor, what?
right now, they don't have an access corridor. They're gonna get to about a 40-foot.
yeah, I think is it 35 feet on the plans that were
Right, but
proposed?
you're talking 901, that's
901.
90 feet, you said.
Well, the frontage is 90 feet, but because of this area right here,
It's not a
this
corridor,
is the corridor, it's not 50 feet.
right, that's your point,
It's technical, but they should have asked for the variance.
and they should ask for the variance.
How do emergency vehicle access the property?
That would have to be the applicants. I have never been there.
We've had fire trucks come in to our property, no problem before. We had a carbon monoxide.
Did they come the back way or did they come, how did they get there?
To 901, I mean, it's pretty wide, it might not be 50.
Oh, yeah, 901.
But wide enough for fire trucks.
And what about to 9 today, in the last 2 years? How would a fire truck today access it?
They would have to go down the extension.
The
I'm
extension?
not sure that they.
The extension is only 13 feet.
That's why they're not. Well, technically for a fire truck to get through.
But I think, previously, I think there was the fire department, I think, did do a drive-by to see, because you can go down Spruce the cul-de-sac and come into the property in an easier angle. So,
Up here. Whatever, if the fire department was okay with it, that,
that's my understanding. I
all.
didn't see a report or anything like that, but that's what I was.
Suppose it doesn't really change
That-
any of the driveways, it's just kind of moving lot lines.
gives them a new one, essentially, formally. Okay,
It's just changing the property in which
you're
the
not
driveway's on
blocking
the
any of the
ownership
old
of it.
stuff that already exists, right? It's still there. The way you're accessing it today, you're not proposing eliminating the access. You wouldn't use it, but you're not proposing eliminating it.
No,
Okay.
And then Chris last for lot 9, there's a shed, that's an existing shed. Just to affect the
There's
variance.
a shed in back that is non-conforming now, it's not being changed, nothing, there is no, this application doesn't affect the shed at all, so.
It's the same lot line, correct?
It's the same lot line.
Was that shed when I guess 901 was separated from
no, it had nothing to do with that subdivision. It's on
You
the
asking
opposite
if it was
side.
there?
Did it exist when 901 was
Yes.
created?
Yes.
So they must have allowed it, obviously.
It does show on the existing, or the subdivision plan from, I believe it was 1987.
So in 1987, that shed was there.
Next, moving on to lot 901 variances, it requires a maximum lot coverage variance, correct? 901 where, it says required,
It does, it is, yes, it does require an impervious coverage, but we are making it better than it was. So it is,
Have to look at the numbers in this.
You got a total coverage of 14 down, 49.
and proposed we'll have coverage of 13,679.
There, these people.
and required is less than 11,958, so that condition is being improved. The nonconformity is being reduced. Correct, Chris?
And how is that happening? That you're reducing it? Sorry if I was distracted.
Because they're picking up lot area from the driveway entrance.
Oh, okay. Percentages of probably. You're not changing anything about the driveway. You're not
No.
changing anything about your impervious.
No, it's just that they're picking up lot area.
And next lot 901 needs a driveway setback variance where,
How much
And-
was it? What's the overage on the impervious?
About 2,000 square feet.
Which is on a basis of, okay. You're 2,000 over your limit, which was,
the limit is 11,958.
and you're
Yeah, 14.
13.
The existing is 14,249, so it's being reduced significantly.
About 1,700.
Now, wait a minute, you said that the reduction was a percentage. So you're actually going to reduce some of the impervious, the actual square footage of the impervious for lot 901. Okay, and you're reducing it how? I'm just missing the point.
The proposed is 13,671 square feet.
Further gravel drive.
And can you show on that chart?
Well, it's safe.
The what is?
It's part of the existing driveway.
And you're increasing.
On
Is on it's on like, yeah.
The driveway's coming off a lot 901.
So even though almost all of it's on lot 3 today, some of it's on 901. And that's being mitigated essentially,
That's correct.
and that's where the reduction essentially is.
Yes, on the square footage, correct.
Gotcha. It adds up. That was your last one, you think? Oh, that
No.
was, sorry, you're going through for 901, is that your?
Let's just go through the variance for 901. So moving on to the next one is the driveway setback of 10 feet required. The existing is 0 and proposed is 0. So there's going to be no change to that, right, Chris?
That's correct.
Setback from your, whatever, the right-hand side, I guess the easterly property. It's 0 now, and normally it's supposed to be 10 feet away from that easterly property line for 901, and you're requesting the existing condition be carried.
It's staying right where it is.
Okay.
And then next lot 901 needs a variance for the corridor, which is required 50 feet and what's being proposed is 35 feet.
That's, there is now none and we're proposing 35, so.
Then next on lot 901, this isn't really a variance, I think it was a note, and I think the engineering comments about the setback. Which,
Yeah, I guess in the resolution, which I didn't have when I prepared the map, that the setback required on lot 901 would be 100 feet. We show it as a 75-foot yard setback, but the existing dwelling, proposed dwelling would still be 106. So if that's a stipulation we want to put on there, we could certainly change the setback to 100 instead of 75, and the lot would still be conforming. There could be no.
So you're still in compliance with the old condition that was in the prior resolution.
Correct.
So, yeah, if you don't need relief from it, then it's up to
Let it
you.
ride. Right.
That's it.
Well,
They're not, are they override? Oh, it is something theoretically we could ask for, right?
so the lot line is changing.
Yes,
Right, so, if you require, you're gonna require to maintain 100-foot setback, I think that setback line is gonna move closer to the house. So
well, they have it at 106.
we're going in at 75, if this board put a condition on it, make that setback 100.
It says 10,
Right,
it says 106.
It is 106 now, so even if we made it 100, it would still be conforming.
Right.
okay, so
They were allowed to have 75 by the prior, whatever.
they were not, they were allowed, they were required to have 100.
Yeah, that's what they're supposed to have, but the prior agreement period let them have.
Is there gonna be a new
75.
condition to require 100-foot setback from the proposed lot?
Yes. So we can,
Yes.
so no harm, no foul, we can add that as, that they need to stipulate that the, as you say, that the new
Can still meet.
setback will be
And they still-
100 feet. And that would override any prior agreement on a setback being smaller than that.
Basically, all we're doing then is continuing the condition in the old resolution, even though the lot line is changing. So I can,
Oh, was the old resolution 100 feet? How did
Correct.
75 feet come
Correct.
here?
75 is the standard, and that's what's shown on this plan, but the old resolution required 100.
And that's what I
Okay.
said, I didn't have the resolution
Oh,
when I
right.
prepared the map,
I
so
got
I
you.
showed what was required in the zone.
So we'll reaffirm that, they'll stipulate to it that it's no big deal, it's already there, that's what they're living by, we're gonna have them stipulate to it being at 100 feet.
Yep.
And no sweat. That's okay, right? I mean, sounds like that's okay, you've got 100 feet today.
That's your lot 901.
I mean, if it's gonna be conforming, then,
Yes, it's,
yeah,
that's money, it's 106 or something.
Yeah, it's 106, 9, something like that.
106.9.
It's more than conforming, it's just that the prior resolution said you're gonna be more than conforming, you're gonna be 100 feet,
right,
and you're 106.
right.
And all we're suggesting is that 100-foot requirement be continued and carried forward.
yeah, Yeah, that's fine, as long as.
Okay, in the spirit of the whole team, whatever, all right. Okay,
So that's it as to all the variances that we require
for 901 or there's
for,
no,
for all of them, for the entire application. It's
Nothing
not,
on lot three,
lot 3 does not require any variances, correct?
not that I'm aware of.
Hmm. There were, some engineering comments just as to your cables, if they wanted revised.
Correct. Yes, we made several revisions and then now and then we get the number, so we can correct. Absolutely, we'll correct any discrepancies or inconsistencies in the zoning table.
I guess the residential to be in front lot line. And, just, we want to be sure we're okay with it. So lot 9, and you have it on your plan, there's a setback stated that it's 87.5 feet from the new front lot line, which is the one that just got spiky carved out, right? And I want to be sure that lot 9 did not have a 100-foot requirement as part of the existing agreement.
That house was existing, I think it's a prior subdivision, so
And the good news is it's more than 75 anyway, right?
I'm not sure.
Because
I'm not sure what that dimension regulates.
it's from the front lot line, that dimension. It's a setback from the front lot line.
Yeah, it's on an angle, so it's technically not the setback to CD Drive extension.
Maybe, you know, someone perversely looking at it, but it sounds like everything's okay, so.
The
And you don't need
100
to
foot only
stipulate-
applies to 901. It does
What?
not apply to 9. The 100 foot only
The
applies.
100 foot was only 901, there was none, and the new, I mean, if they'd taken that spiky spike and put it up closer to the property 9 house, we'd be saying, wait a minute, your front yard setback's not good enough. But they did, they only put the spike up far enough where, however one might interpret the front yard setback for the house, it's 87 feet, which is more than 75, which is what applies to this zone, right? So you're covered, okay. That was it then for that. So
I think next is the planner had wanted some testimony as to the hardship requirements, as to shape. A lot, so Chris, could you just describe, it's the lot having unique shapes?
Well, yeah, I can't testify, I'm not a planner, but it doesn't appear to me like there's any negative effect to the neighborhood or anything. Nothing's being changed other than one curb cut being added, but again, I can't testify as a planner, I am not one. But doesn't appear to me like there's any negative criteria to the neighborhood.
Chairman, if I could.
Sure.
I think that, the relief that they're requesting is best encapsulated under the C2 standard, the benefits, of granting this outweighing detriments. I don't see any negative, impacts by virtue of the fact that really not much is changing. It's minimizing a non-conformity on lot 901, and resolving internal issues that, planning is supposed to promote harmony, that's what we're trying to do, and there's very little, impact associated with the lot lines. Really, nothing's changing other than lot lines we can't see, but there are positive planning points in terms of getting that skirt paved so that rocks are not gonna kick up. And those types of things fall under the better planning alternative analysis that's required in the C2, and I would support that.
And are there any conditions of the original subdivision that have to carry through to this?
I mean, that's a legal question. I mean, to the extent that this was already filed. You would think, if there are ongoing conditions, yes, they be carried over.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
This was implemented, so I'm not seeing it, but perhaps
100-foot setback was the
the
only.
only thing that I thought covered.
The resolution only had 2 conditions, and we've addressed the extra 25 foot that the board at that time required. Nothing else in the old resolution, from my view, is relevant.
Okay, well, that was.
Yeah, usually when I look at that for resolutions, I try to identify the things that I would put in my report, for example, these prior conditions are still valid, carry over.
No, like payment with a wagon of hay or any of that kind of stuff.
You know, and when I get into situations where there are conditions that I think are ongoing, I ask that those resolutions be filed, so that there's public notice that they're ongoing. And that's not the case.
Well, that's basically what I was asking.
Yeah, it's a good question. Absolutely.
Okay, does anyone from the public have questions for this witness? Okay, come on down and ask your, stand on the X. Watch out for the anvil coming from the ceiling.
Last time I stood on the X with Dallas.
Yeah.
Right under it was a good spot.
Your name, sir?
John Bertoni, 36 Locust Drive. My property abuts the town's portion of the right of way on scenic extension.
Sir, just spell your last name, please.
ERTON. My question is, does this, all these variances, this agreement, does this create now a 10 Spruce Place? Is that what it's going to be, or is it will remain as 99 Scenic Drive extension? My main concern is what is the result of this, the right of way that goes across the Locust properties and the town properties? What is gonna happen to that? And in doing this, does it create a throughway from Spruce all the way to Seney, which we have fought hard against?
I, way beyond my,
So, okay, so theoretically, someone could, get off Spruce, go around this private driveway, up almost to the house and turn left onto
What is the right
Extension.
the
way?
extension.
It'd be trespass.
It is private property,
It'd
so
be trespass.
it could be no trespassing.
If there's a right of way.
It's very private.
So the right of way is only in favor, the right of way is not public right of way, it's the right of way in favor of the property owner, right?
Which right away?
The parties are not seeking to grant the public any additional rights by
Right.
virtue of this lot line adjustment. There is a right of way there that's on filed maps, and the parties have disputed what that means amongst themselves. But they're not changing anything as to the
Who
public.
does the right of way, is it a public right of way or is it a right of way to benefit of the property owner?
And I can address this. The only way that the public gains access and becomes a public road is if the borough accepts dedication of it. This is a private driveway. Just because a right of way may exist on a filed map does not in any way entitle the public to use it. If the public were to go on this private driveway, it'd be trespassing. It'd be the same thing, just because there's a right of way on a filed map, it would be the same thing as if someone turned down your driveway, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
It'd be the same
No,
thing.
they get lost.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the road cut for lot 9, the right of way really,
Not continuous.
barely goes into the road cut, so it's not really creating any public access. This would be private for
Well,
just
the
lot
key
9.
is this is private property. That's-
Exactly.
That's the point, and that's
If
right.
it's private property, it remains private property, and,
Yeah,
you know, I'd like that right of way to go away. But, quite honestly, that would be great if it could.
well, the
It
property
seems to
owner
me
on
that
nine
the
could put up a
utilities
sign.
go up that way, and you still need to have.
The property owner, the 9 property owner can put a barrier between their property and the right of way that's on the public lands. That does not have to be a through.
Okay.
But it's common, you know, like people put barriers up there. And certainly the drive off of Spruce is absolutely private. Public's not, except gas, but are not allowed on that.
We've noted in our application that there's no intent to create any additional public rights here. This is a private agreement amongst the 3 property owners.
Right.
Okay.
Nonetheless, the property owner has their own rights, so unilaterally they can apply.
Yeah, I mean, I just
I think
don't wanna see
they're
cars and trucks and everything else going, you know,
No gravel and spikes.
there's enough ruts in it right now, Bob.
Oh.
Who says that it couldn't be improved? It's flattened out. If
All right.
it gets flattened out, then people start to use it when they start to run leak. Okay, that's it.
Thanks for your question.
Only the homeowners can use it.
Any other questions from the public of this witness? All right, And we're done with our question. We can always ask them again, because you're next witness, right?
I don't really think we have anybody
We don't need
further
it.
unless the board has any questions or concerns or wants to hear further testimony.
Oh, well, then if we're not gonna have another witness, then we can now open it, well, we can discuss amongst ourselves, but we can open to the public, we can open it up for comments on the application, so it doesn't have to be a question, it can just be a comment, and if so, you've got to come down and be sworn. So anyone want to make a comment about this application?
Good evening, board. Be sworn in.
No, you're on the great.
Luke Pontier of the law firm Day Pitney. I'm here on behalf of the other two property owners that were not the applicants, but are part of the application this evening. I just want to thank the board for their time this evening and reiterate that the other two property owners did sign on to the application. They're supportive of this application, and we hope that you will vote affirmatively tonight. This would be a great resolution to a dispute and a good use of planning tools, as Mr. Zabo said, to provide harmony to this. So thanks again for your time.
Great. Any other public comment? Seeing none. You can summarize.
So, I guess just to focus on the C2 flexible variance as the planner is suggesting, obviously, we feel like we're improving the prior plan, which the board has already approved. We're minimizing the nonconformities. We're resolving a major dispute, and clearly the benefits of granting this application outweigh the detriments. And for those reasons, we hope the board will approve this application.
Thank you. Any comments from our professionals on this? No, you already got your pieces,
I'm satisfied.
okay? Any comments from the board? Okay, I'll take a motion. Why don't you describe the resolution?
Sure, it's a minor subdivision application that they've,
No
referred to as
celebration.
a, lot line adjustment. There's a few variances that have been indicated as they affect lots 9 and 9.01. The only conditions that I have, other than that, compliance with our professionals' reports, I have the pavement 6 to 8 feet into the new driveway, continuation of the 100-foot setback requirement in the prior resolution. And with that, really, that the relief that they seek is all pursuant to the C2 benefits versus detriments criteria. As Mr. Zabo indicated, I don't really think this is a hardship application. That what they presented to the board is that they think this is a better planning alternative than exists on the site now.
Right, and I would add to that, if we remove the notes on sheet 3 and let the property owners make that their agreement, not the.
Yeah, I think other than the pavement for the 6 to 8 feet, all of those remain subject to their private agreement, which shouldn't be part of the plan set.
Memorialized in our documents.
Right.
They're on sheets 1 and 3.
1 and 3. Okay, entertain a motion. I'll move
To approve.
to approve.
Okay.
Karen, second,
Okay, thank you.
and a roll call,
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Graham,
yes.
Mr. Horowitz,
Yes.
Mr. Simoff,
Yes.
Mr. Walden,
Yes.
Mr. Zazarino,
Yes.
the motion passes.
There you go. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Don't need the shotguns anymore.
Thank you very
Now there's all of them there.
Short.
Yeah.
So we are. Very fast run. They know how to manage their spikes. Hey, very nice. Oh, done? I gotta go. All right, so. Next item is just reviewing the board's reviews of the pending public hearings. We know we have, at the moment, we still have AR Bernardsville. Bernardsville for next meeting, March 28th, that's still scheduled, right?
That's still good.
Have a good night.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
Following the agenda,
Okay.
and it's board reviews, and I'm just reviewing the facts that AR Bernardsville is carried until next meeting, which is March 28th.
Correct.
And then,
On the AR meeting, are the new documents that AR produced at the last couple of hearings, are they online?
There were the exhibits, yes.
So the new exhibits.
no, when? So the January exhibits are online, so the ones they presented are we loaded them up,
Yeah.
the new document?
Like,
Do you ever return it?
well, I'm having a real problem printing the exhibits to scale. They don't have the.
Did you get the hard copies yet? They were supposed to.
They don't have, revised civil drawings online. I don't know. They intend to find some of those. You have the architects, you have the attorney template exhibits. I know Steve has had conversations with their attorney about getting.
We need to emphasize that. We're not gonna go through another meeting without them having documents available online and the latest.
You'd be able to email
10
me
days.
exactly what you think is missing, because everything that they've given me is
My
online.
understanding,
I need help, Steve.
my understanding is they're mailing, the hard copies are being.
That was 2 weeks ago, you should have.
I understand.
Oh, you did?
Which we can talk, but Steve has told me that they are working on revisions.
Right.
Well, they need to get their stuff
So
together.
they're kind of in between revisions and what was submitted, so I think if they were to plot out these life plans now, they would be incomplete in what they're trying to do, and they would be different than what they. Correct. But they could at least,
Does the 10 days apply to the hard copies too, or?
we're very anxious to do an updated report.
The 10-day rule, doesn't necessarily apply to revised plans. Now, a lot of boards in their bylaws put that in there, or I've had a board require submittals 3 weeks in advance without professional review. And if you don't get them in 3 weeks ago, you're automatically carried. If
Right.
that happens 3 times, you're dismissed.
Right.
So they're put on notice early on, that they've got to get it.
But for us, no such thing.
You don't cover that necessarily in your bylaws. The initial obviously has to be on file, the initial application because of the public hearing notice, but after that, it gets a little loose. Now, what happens is that an applicant, even though you have it in your bylaw, that you submit 2-3 weeks in advance of 10 days. Nothing prevents an applicant bringing in an exhibit that day, but they're put on notice that, that may be reviewed,
Well, maybe we can't rule on it,
Right. So,
ad hoc.
but they should submit plans and the exhibits so that Bob and I can review them, they understand that. And so, yeah, we're kind of in flux, I guess, based on the number of hearings, they are getting the message that there's some revisions they need to consider. We're waiting for those revisions, we just found that out the other day. It's
Well,
possible, they may not.
To Denise's question, I think as of tomorrow morning or whenever you're done, what do you still need? And she or through Steve or whatever, they'll let them know they've got to get them there, get them submitted.
No, as an example, I asked him for a copy of the DOT permit. As part of in the hearing, the last hearing. So that should be the next day. They said it was
They didn't
filed.
say they're working on it.
No, they said they filed it.
I don't think so.
Well, no, you don't think it's filed,
No.
you're not doubting that
No.
they.
No.
I
said
think
it's
we
filed.
can't get too far into this because of the nature of the process.
Right.
Just suffice, Bob needs stuff, we need stuff, we don't have it yet. And the
Yeah, it's in the
hearing's coming.
context of scheduling them and carrying them, and if there's a problem with.
I'm sure Matt will
procedurally,
communicate that to Steve.
then-
Yeah, I would say at this juncture, we sort of we know where the issue is, let it be worked out offline and not as part of a quorum public meeting without the applicant. So I'll go to Steve tomorrow. I'll explain that the board had expressed concerns about the timing and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
The
there's that-
criticality of, that, like, to present stuff, which they're entitled to do, present an exhibit. It's like, come on, guys, this is a really
The
important.
problem here, and I'm generalizing.
Yeah.
I'm not focusing on, what I noticed a lot in my career is that applicants bring exhibits they should be bringing exhibits to enhance the submittal.
Yes,
For example,
Colorized version.
a rendering,
Yeah.
of a building, so you can see it in color.
right,
It enhances the submittal. What I often see happening, and I'm not saying this, but is they're using the exhibits as part of to make
As a
their case,
revise.
revising things that they've submitted. What
Right.
they should be submitting is in support of what they've submitted, and they're making changes on the fly. It's not unique to this. It
No,
happens a
it's-
lot,
it's human nature, I think.
and I try to, professionals try to.
And we encourage
organize
them,
that.
you say, hey, if you could just do this, put the shrubbery there, we encourage them and then they wanna help and they wanna come back and say, see here, the shrubbery's here now. But
That's different.
I just picked something
Yeah,
silly.
if they do something that if an applicant does something you want them to do it,
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that.
Well, this is different.
The key is you need to review it.
This is all over.
Review.
I'm being general.
Yeah.
No, but in
so-
general- In general, I think that if there are plan revisions, they should not be submitted as an exhibit on the day.
Oh, on the concept of the revised and final.
In general, if an applicant makes a plan revision, that could have an impact on parking,
Correct.
loading.
Right. Yeah,
It should be done on the fly.
It shouldn't be 30 days before the board gets
the
there.
revised.
Well, but
Well, whatever, it's
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, we have. For this application, which is scheduled, we have a recommendation that you'll get back to Denise after you look at their mail tomorrow and let her know. Look, you need to be able to perform your duties and write a report. Okay. Equinet, do we need to have an executive meeting on Equinet? Or there was a question, I think we got it extended, but has there been any communications from them? On Equinet?
I
other than
spoke to
the-
Steve
the
today
major letter they
and
sent?
he said that he has not heard anything about a resubmittal or anything like
Okay.
that. I'll leave that for him to address with the board when he's here in 2
Okay,
weeks.
so there's not, in other words,
But there's
nothing to
there's no
discuss,
movement.
so,
And I've not heard anything.
And I think we have a time of decision extension through the end of the month, is that accurate?
yeah, well, okay, right.
Just the end of March?
That's all, yeah.
Yeah,
Now, are they,
For the board, that
they're not
In
scheduled
theory,
though for
if
the
they're not willing to
twenty-eighth?
extend,
Denise, do we have them
just
on?
No, they're not on the
We don't have
agenda.
them on the
No, they're not
agenda.
scheduled.
And what's the cutoff, if they wanted to be on the agenda for the twenty-eighth, for some reason, when's the deadline for them to?
Saturday, they would have had to notice 10 days prior, and at this juncture with getting the notice in the paper, I don't know that they.
So it's renoticed, it's not carried with no notice, right?
They have to renotice, right?
they have to renotice.
Have to renotice.
Yeah.
So the ship is sailed?
We need, like, you need another.
No, it's just to get them on.
Yeah, I mean, what my recommendation would be is depending on what your meeting looks like in 2 weeks,
Mhm.
it's full. Denise tries to either secure a further extension, or if they're unwilling to grant it, but they're not applying to the board, they're not submitting revised plans, what you would do in 2 weeks is dismiss the application without prejudice.
Would it be denied? Wouldn't it be, doesn't the land use law require an actual deny?
There's some wiggle room there on how the resolution would be.
So you guys can kind of prepare
Yeah, I mean, whatever it
the
requires.
reality of what has to be done
Immediate-
with different
immediate.
scenarios.
Denial without prejudice,
Without
dismissal
prejudice.
without prejudice.
I guess a dismissal the same as a denial.
Yeah.
Lawyers are the ones that worry about the work.
I always say dismissal is not prejudice.
I always say.
Tonight's.
Well,
more
then they have to
prejudice.
reapply. That's the incentive to give the extension.
All right, okay, so
Well, you deny it.
we handled this correctly, or you're gonna, Denise, you're going to, or you and Steve are gonna talk about what may need to be sent to the applicant,
Equinet.
Equinet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it's the 18th, the notice has to go in the paper on the 18th. Right, which is Sunday.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Latest, 18th at the
Yeah,
latest.
and that's the reality, and
I
like
don't
it's
think they would.
it's impossible, but it's important
They-
that we go to measure to say, look, time's passing and we're asking.
Right, so
They
I was,
wouldn't have noticed though, because they would have had to ask me
Right.
if they could know, if they could get on that agenda.
I don't
Which they've
think,
not done.
I don't think they have, we just don't know what the next step is, you're gonna figure out what could
yeah, reach out
happen.
to them and secure a further extension. That way we don't even have to worry about what.
Yeah.
Right.
We could just keep it simple and ask for a further extension.
And if they say no.
And if they say they don't want one, then it's just a nice way, rather than being denial or dismissal.
I think
That's a nice way to
If
ask.
they haven't submitted anything by now, how would they expect to be heard?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
I don't know what the intent of the
That-
letter
that's-
was either, so.
How many extensions
as many as
are
you feel are
given
appropriate.
to people that?
I mean, it depends on the board. Some boards say, our preference or our policy, if it's memorialized in your bylaws is, you have a certain amount of time to come up with revised plans. I have some boards where applications pen for 3, 4, 5 years.
No.
So,
There should be finality.
But because of this, who's got the ball, we're not in builder remedy or anything like that on this, right? I
No.
mean, okay, well, I was just saying,
I think that the request for an extension should be to the end of May, based on our
Agenda.
projected schedule.
Oh, we haven't
Is
even heard
Memorial
of
Day in there, so I didn't, just double check on our official calendar.
if they agree to
I think
extend it, solves
Memorial
all
Day is
the
a
problems.
Monday, obviously, so
it.
maybe it doesn't
Your
matter.
office has not heard anything yet.
No.
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 Let's not forget, we have to look at.
No, and if Steve heard, he would have let me know, and I would, I mean, unless there was something like just today or something.
Or you would have sent-
Let's just double check, that's all.
Yeah.
Time's passing,
Memorial
windows are
Day
closed.
doesn't affect, our schedule,
Right,
because there are 3 Mondays in May.
We have to look at the recreational plan at some point, we're
Yes.
Thursday.
Yeah, Mr.
okay.
Oh, sorry.
I
Memorial Day still doesn't
I looked
affect
at,
us.
I looked at it, we have a final document with the revisions and an explanation of the revisions, we should schedule it for a public hearing and adopt it at this point, or at the board, forgive me, the board should review with the changes and move forward with an act.
Okay. So when,
It just needs to be scheduled. I
Well-
would think that they should probably have their consultant or someone here, present it, 'cause it's not our plan. It was done by the rec commission, and the borough, and then, have the public advertise for the public hearing.
And the sustainability plan, it'd be nice to do that.
You had asked that, I inquired, I haven't received a response back to my inquiry to our proposal. Maybe the borough wants a proposal, it's fine, I don't know, but the administrator has not gotten back to me, I'll send out another email. If the board is interested, in an answer, what would you like? But I did reach out.
we also, maybe it's the same thing, but we should be touching base with the Office of Emergency Management and looking at the climate change thing.
Yeah, same thing, I think.
All right. Anything else?
Nope.
Good meeting, thank you.
Good, thank you.
We're planning to have-
Good to see you.
Yeah, so as long as you're tired, aren't slack.